conflicts. Now here's the problem. In one of my previous relationships, I was with a young lady who argued a lot, and I came to terms with it, and I said, listen, I didn't grow up in a house with arguing. I don't like it. I can't stand loud yelling. I'm trying to just talk to you. She, on the other hand, was offended by the fact that I wouldn't argue because her dad never argued. So anytime she had a point, she would try to have a conversation. He would just shut it down and act like nothing happened and walk away. So now that I'm doing it, she's projecting on me, her dad. So I'm like, wait, so in order for us to continue having a decent relationship, I have to argue with you? Like, we gotta yell back and forth? And she said, yes, I prefer it. I was like, we never found a solution to that problem because I couldn't bring myself, I just couldn't see getting my temper that high. And she couldn't deal with the fact that somebody else in her life she felt wouldn't respect her opinion in the way that she lived. We had to split. There was no way for us to make that work. And we were fine with it. You go that way, I go this way, because we obviously aren't making any headway. I like it, but we just can't. We can't do this. And it just made sense. There are other relationships in which we make the adjustments. We completely make the adjustments. You like blue, I like red. Sometimes, you'll hear somebody will say, well, go on and make purple. Yeah, what if I really like blue and I don't want purple? Well, that might be the point where the other person says, you know what, as much as I like right here, I'm going to we're going to stick with blue. I'd rather you be happy here, and I'm just going to deal with red. And you make those flips, you make those adjustments. But you have to decide what's the best way, considering who you are, that I'm going to deal with. Right? I was talking with someone about their relationship. They were together, their son is 18. They were together 21 years before they got married. They finally get married. And they both live in Brooklyn. And the lady was interested. She's lived with the man for all these years. They said their son is 18, going to college. And she said it's interesting because now she sees things a little bit different. Because I asked her, how is it now that you're married after 21 years of a relationship? And I was expecting her to say about the same. She said, no, it's actually really different because now I have certain responsibilities I didn't necessarily care about previously. So we got in an argument one day, and I got mad, and I stormed out and grabbed my stuff and went to my mother's house. My mother let me stay mad for a while, and she said, why are you here? She said, what do you mean? She was like, you're married. Why are you here? Go home to your husband. And she never thought about it. She was like, you're right, so she went home. She started doing stuff like finding money stuffed in the mattress, $3,000, $4,000 stuffed in the mattress. And she starts realizing there's all these things that he did that she never knew about, nor really pushed. But now that they're joined, she's finding things out. So she was listening to me talk about different things in relationships, and she was like, well, we have to try that. I said, hey, wait, listen. I ain't telling you to try nothing. You've been with this person for 21 years. You do something now, you might mess the whole thing up. You know who you're with. Don't just try to look at a book and say, this is the correct model for functional relationships. No, sometimes you just have to go, this is who we are, and we have to find a way to make us work. If the woman that I'm with is not what I thought I should be with, or the guy that you're with is not who you think you should be with, sometimes you find things get easier if I go, but this is who I'm with. Now that's only in certain circumstances. There are other circumstances in which that won't work. But the minute you accept this is actually the person, that's fine. I get tired of hearing guys be mad that their wife is overweight when they marry an overweight. That's really weird. Why did you think this was going to... I understand. And vice versa. I mean, completely vice versa. I know women as well who look at the others and go, oh, it's just, this is disgusting. And I go, well, what did you think? He looked like that before. And he was just going to get older. I don't know why you thought. I understand why you It was the easiest thing for me to do. I went ahead and got that out of the way. I did not sit there and try to play tricks on my mind, but if I stare long enough, I could find beauty in this. I didn't try. I was not, and I'm being honest, I wasn't, in order to make that relationship work, I was not going to lie to myself. I knew what relationship I was in, I knew who I was, I knew who they were, and I said, we have to make this relationship work under these circumstances. So I'm not going to see you in an outfit one day and I'll think the heaven's open. It's not going to happen in this relationship. But I was doing it for a reason. So there were still other things that made that relationship completely justifiable, and I enjoyed the time that I spent with them, understanding that when it was over, we went separate ways. And I didn't hold it over their head. I talked to young ladies, he was ugly anyway. I'm like, well, you can do that when y'all started. Don't try to hold it over their head now. You do that when this whole thing got started. All right? So, now that I got all that out of the way, as far as my little disclaimers, I need you to understand that God made us as a whole. You are who you are by yourself. You can stand on your own 2 feet. You can live your own life. With that being said, that stands for male and female. You can live your own life. But you need someone else who respects you as a whole, which means they need to be able to look at you and understand you can stand on your own too as well. You don't need me, and I don't need you. There are challenges that come with that because I'm going to be a man regardless of anybody that I'm with. And the reason I'm going to be a man regardless is because God made me a man. Done. There's no discussions, no arguments. I'm a man because God made me. The same way you were women because God made you women, and the other men in the room are men because God made them men. The one thing you can do to pretty much guarantee relationship suicide is to challenge the man or the woman, or to make up a word, to challenge the womanness or the manness of whoever you're with. I hear women all the time, not all the time, but every now and then it comes along and I try to warn, hey, don't do that. And they'll say something like, what kind of man would so-and-so and so? That relationship's over. Quick, fast, and hurry. It might not be over that night, but from here on out, this thing is going to drop quick. Because you just can't pull that card. You can't pull the, what kind of man would, or if you were a real man, you would. That relationship is done because you just challenged the wholeness of the other person. And we as people don't agree with that. The same way if a guy was a woman that makes that same call. What kind of woman was so-and-so and so? You're not a real woman if this, that, and the other. The minute you realize that that other person does not view you with the same respect of your identity, it will never leave your head. You will always be very aware this thing ain't wrong. It's not working. Everything they do, you're going to notice it because they don't think that you are whole within yourself. All right? The reality is you don't need to be a parent, you need to be a partner. That is the piece for most relationships. A lot of couples try to parent each other. It becomes a significant problem. You didn't marry a child, and if you did, whoops. You didn't date a child, if you did, whoops. But that's what you're with. Once again, admitting who you are with. Your job is not to parent them. Your job is to be in a relationship with them. If you find yourself parenting a person and you have no option but to parent them, you may need to reevaluate your relationship. I'm not saying get out, but I'm saying there might need to be some significant changes that occur within that. There are things that we get parentage about, and it's preference. It's not need, it's just preference. I mean, if I'm a bachelor and I like to, when I finish drinking out of my glass, I can just leave it on the table. I don't feel like putting it back in the sink until whenever I get around to it. And I'm with somebody that's going to walk behind me. How come you need to put this in the sink every time so? And start thinking that I could not function by myself if I did not have somebody else to come around and pick up these glasses. The reality is, yes, I could. I did it before you did. I functioned just fine without you. I didn't function